Good evening. Welcome to this edition of Northeast Diary. Here we bring you the latest developments from India's unexplored Northeast region. Friends, everyone has been affected in some way or the other by the second wave of COVID-19. Farmers too have had to face a lot of hardships during this time. In this edition, we will go over to Meghalaya and Manipur and learn how farmers are faring during this difficult phase. We will also take you to the oldest monastery in Sikkim. For quite some time now, the Department of Women Development Nagaland with the Transformative Livelihood Intervention Project has been marketing food and fruit products under the brand name Maiki. Going back to a few years, the Nagaland government, realizing that more emphasis is needed for upliftment of women and to facilitate the active involvement in mainstream developmental activities of the state, created the Department of Women Development in the year 2003-2004. Besides providing support services and safeguarding the legal rights, one of the primary focuses of the department is to address the issue of empowerment of women in Nagaland through the socio-economic upliftment. Here's more from a Kohima correspondent.
Maiki is a transformative livelihood intervention project initiated and facilitated by the Women Resource Development Department, Government of Nagaland, started in the year 2006, which aims at enabling women in the state to achieve upward social and economic mobility as well as power and status. Based in Kohima, Maiki has managed to spread its popularity not only in the state but also outside like Shillong and Guwahati. Their dried wild apple, gooseberry, soybean chutney, pop rice, dried bamboo shoot, English gourd, roselle, dry cane chili, dry pineapple, etc. are among their processed food items. All their products are produced by various entrepreneurs and self-help groups who are associated with the Women Resource Development. To celebrate the contributions of women as equal partners in socio-economic development of the state, be it as cultivators, farmers, artisans, entrepreneurs, professionals, homemakers, etc. The Maiki Fest, which was launched in October 2018-19, is now an extension of the Hornbill Festival. Besides, the Maiki has been producing face masks since the COVID-19 pandemic started and making it to public at reasonable price. For Northeast Diary, this is Asunyo from Kohima.
In Mizoram, apart from the phenomenal and usual charitable activities in these trying times, some villagers have dared to set up their own COVID care centers so that needy villagers can get the benefits of health care in their own village affected by coronavirus. Here's a report from a correspondent from Aizawl.
Chingtip is a small village situated in the southern district of Sertip. The worldwide pandemic COVID-19 has also swooped on the people of this remote village. With this, the villagers have set an example in the fight against coronavirus. With positive cases of the infection beginning to surface, the villagers have embarked on a challenge in setting up a community COVID care center so that the COVID-19 patients of their village can be treated in their home place. It is noted that the state government has also encouraged communities to set up community COVID care centers. Already many churches and community centers have spared accommodation for COVID care centers. In this line, the villagers led by the village level task force took up the initiative last month. Sooner the church, the NGOs have come forward to strengthen facilities of the 4C. Obviously, the medical team from the primary health care center have taken up responsibilities of providing medical treatment. Talking to AIR News, VLTS Secretary Lelram Thara of Chingtip village has shared the experience of setting up the community COVID care center. He said,
"We feel very proud today after setting up our own community COVID care center in our own village. The idea came up among the members of our village task force since cases started being detected in the village. And then the patients were bound to travel to the district headquarters for treatment, and we have seen this has an enormous toll on their emotional well-being. The villagers bid farewell to their loved ones with tears, and such tragic stories happened many times in the past few months. These happenings prompted the villagers to set up our own center for treatment of COVID. Now we are happy that it has now been materialized and is being run smoothly because of the selfless service of the medical team who are basically attached to the village PHC. Now 14 patients, including children, are undergoing treatment in this community COVID care center. Medical team for Chingchi Primary Health Center are giving treatment to these patients.
To run this center and to take care of the patients, the VLTF have been receiving contribution from most of the families of village, also from the church and from NGOs. Food and medicines are being procured from these contributions. Also, local MLA Mr. Lalrinoma donated 1 lakh rupees to improve the facilities of the center. Also, the VLTF Secretary Lalram Thara said that anyone from the nearby villages in need of COVID treatment is welcome in the center. For Northeast Diary, this is Irene Aizol.
Farmers are a crucial part of the food value chain. However, the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic and the ongoing lockdown has made income generation difficult for farmers as there's no place to sell their produce. Despite a good harvest, farmers are unable to sell the harvested produce in the market. Sometimes, farmers are forced to sell the stocks to middlemen for a low price or let them go to waste. Not only this, the pandemic has hit many vegetable sellers and vendors in the town. A Shillong correspondent tells us more.
The state government has reactivated 1917 I-Teams. The 1917 I-Team stands for Integrated Technology Enabled Agri-Management System. It's a project of the Department of Agriculture, Government of Meghalaya, with the motto of connecting farmers to markets. The 1917 I-Team strives to reach out to the communities with the essential supply of food items and also ensure that farmers' produce does not go waste in this time of crisis. Gavin C. Sulai, Program Manager of 1917 I-Team, shared how it works.
1917 I-Teams was launched in the year 2018. It is actually a project funded by the Department of Agriculture. We have been in existence since then and providing service to the farmers in 3 domains. I-Teams provide logistics service. So we have a fleet of 18 vehicles which are on the field, on the ground right now throughout the states, from Garo Hills, Khasi Hills and even Jaintia Hills. During this current lockdown also, we have facilitated many farmers who have called our short code 1917 and we have linked them to all the buyers. We have big buyers who generally supply outside the state. We have a second category of buyers who supply within the state. 1917 I-Teams do not purchase anything. So what happened, the buyer network is a totally private driven enterprise. Okay, they will purchase as long as the demand is there. So what we need to do is we need to basically block the loopholes for the supply. And that is what we have been constantly working, that the vegetables reach to all the nooks and corners of Shillong town, of Joai, of Tura, everywhere. So once the supply is corrected and there is no breakage in the supply, then it totally depends on the consumption pattern. It totally depends on the market demand. If the market demand is there, our buyers are already there and they are already in action. So which means as the demand increase, our purchase will also increase. But from our side, I want to stress on that we do not purchase anything. We provide all the information that there is a demand for this produce here, there is a demand for that produce there. Then our buyers, they pick up that and thus the supply.
The 1917 I-Teams has been working in tandem with the Deputy Commissioners of the state to ensure that vegetables and fruits are made available to the public during the ongoing lockdown and farmers also get to sell their produce. This is Rustam for Northeast Diary from AIR News, Shillong.
In Manipur, the Manipur Organic Mission Agency, under the initiative of the State Chief Minister, initiated a program which helps farmers in distress and also the common people. Let's hear more from Imphal correspondent JJ Thopcham.
The State Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, who immediately launched Market Intervention Scheme through Manipur Organic Mission Agency, MOMA. From last 25 days, the agency has been procuring fresh vegetables and fruit from farmers across the state, and these items are made available to the common people through home delivery. MoMA, in collaboration with its affiliated farmers, producer companies and other NGOs, visited the nook and corner of the state and purchased the crops and sells this item through mobile app. Speaking to AIR News, Project Director of MoMA K. Devdatta Sharma said that the agency has so far procured 800 metric tons of crops from the farmers and providing this item to more than 300 households every day. He said,
since the second wave has hit again, immediately Honorable Chief Minister has initiated the program on market intervention scheme, which mainly aim at relieving the farmers who are in distressed situation because of the COVID pandemic or any natural disaster. On the other hand, particularly in the thickly populated area of Imphal city, here the persons who were all depending on the everyday market for vegetables, for fruits, for any food items has abruptly come to a halt because of total closing of this market complex. So taking these two things as most important, Manipur Organic Mission Agency has mobilized the farmers producer companies under Manipur Organic Mission Agency. Altogether till now, approximately 800 metric tons of fruits and vegetables have been successfully procured from farmers' fields. And the services of home delivery has been doing with 200 to 300 customers per day at Imphal only. Some of the FPCs have initiated by themselves with our support to do the same way the home delivery system. So they have been carrying out, and up to some extent in the city areas of this district they could address the issues of not getting the fresh vegetables and fruits by the customers. So till now, altogether, for the last about 20 plus days, every day we have been able to deliver 300 plus customers.
The agency had also conducted the market intervention scheme in the last year when the COVID-19 hits the state. For such initiative, which took role as savior for farmers as well as common people during the hard time, people appreciated Manipur Chief Minister and MoMA. Jeje Thoksom from Imphal for North East Diary.
The demand for tea produced in Arunachal Pradesh in the international market is growing, and Tea Board India, through various workshops and training programs, is trying to involve more and more local people in this cash crop business, thus making them self-sustainable and also fulfilling the growing demand. A report.
The Himalayan state of Arunachal Pradesh is known as the land of potential. The foothill regions of the state are ideal for growing tea. Basically, the tea-producing area are on the hill slopes of Siang Basin and plain lands along Assam-Arunachal boundary. Arup Jyoti Das, Assistant Director, Tea Board India, Itanagar Regional Office, informed that Arunachal Pradesh produces about 12 to 14 million kg tea every year, and efforts are underway to increase its production. He said variety of specialty tea are grown and produced in the state, which have attained good demand in the global market.
अच्छा, ऐसे अरुणाचल प्रदेश में तो लोअर एरिया से आपका जो बॉर्डरिंग एरिया असम का बॉर्डर एरिया से है, उससे आपका हिल स्लोप एरिया में भी वो अरुणाचल का टी अभी ग्रो हो रहा है. तो मेनली हम लोग नॉर्दर्न पार्ट ऑफ अरुणाचल एंड साउदर्न पार्ट ऑफ अरुणाचल दो पार्ट में ये कर सकते हैं. अभी नॉर्दर्न पार्ट में आपका हो गया आपका सियांग, पापुमपारे, सियांग डिस्ट्रिक्ट, अपर सियांग डिस्ट्रिक्ट, लोअर सुबनसिरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट, आपका वेस्ट सियांग डिस्ट्रिक्ट, और आपका साउदर्न पार्ट में आपका सांगलांग, तिराप, आपका लोअर दिबांग वैली, नामसाई, लुहित, ये सब एरिया में अभी टी ग्रो हो रहा है. अभी अरुणाचल का टी तो बहुत नाम कर रहा है. अभी तो लास्ट ईयर और उससे पहले साल के भी आपका वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड भी बना हुआ है. ये दोनीपोलो टी स्टेट वैसे तो आपका वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड क्या है, तो अप टू 1 लाख केजी, 1 लाख रुपीज पर केजी रेट मिला है ऑक्शन में. अरुणाचल स्पेशलिटी टी तो बहुत बन रहा है. आपका व्हाइट टी भी बनता है, पर्पल टी, व्हाइट टी, उलूंग टी, येलो टी, ग्रीन टी, ऑर्थोडॉक्स टी.
Mr. Das informed that the golden needle tea produced by the Doni Polo Tea Factory of Arunachal Pradesh has been sold at a whopping price of rupees 75,000 per kg in the auction market, while its price has reached to rupees 1 lakh per kg in the private market. He also informed that Tea Board India is taking up schemes to help the small tea growers in the state to boost cultivation skill and set up mini factories. For Northeast Diary, this is Rakesh Dole, Itanagar.
In Tripura, there is a heritage river Gomti and a lake Dumbur carved out of the river Gomti. The whole area around River Gomti and Dumbur has now become a heritage site and also a tourist destination. Here's a report from our correspondent Reena.
Tripura is one of the most important cultural and heritage hotspots in the northeastern region. Century-old historical sites, archaeological spots, rivers and lakes and temples going back hundreds of years, wildlife sanctuaries and arts and crafts of the state portray the heritage of the people of the state. Every year, lots of domestic and foreign tourists travel to this state to savor the palette of heritage spots of the state. Among all the heritage sites, the Gomti River is regarded as one of the most important sacred destinations to all people belonging to different religion, language, caste and class. Every year, mainly the Hindu people take a journey to the southernmost corner of the state to take a holy bath at the wee hours of Makar Sankranti at Tirthamukh of the Gomti River. Mythology suggests that taking a holy bath at Tirthamukh, which is the origin of the river Gomti, has been continuing since more than 500 years back. The river Gomti has also given a hydel project which has been created about 60 years ago by carving out a channel from the river Gomti, and this lake is known as Dumbur Lake. A 41 square kilometer Dumbur Lake has passed through coarse, crisscrossing hills and a deep forest. Dumbur Lake is a charming water body located in Gandachira subdivision, which is 120 km away from Agartala. The lake looks like a tower-shaped small drum, Dumbur of Lord Shiva, from which the name Dumbur originates. Recently, the state government has taken massive efforts to make this destination more attractive and can be explored by the tourists. The government has launched boating facilities in Dumbur and will set up log huts in Narkal Kunja or the Coconut State very soon. Talking to AIR News, Assistant Director of Tripura Tourism Development Corporation, Mrinal Kantida said,
In Dumbur, we have arranged motorboat at Narkal Kunjo and Gandachara and Mondrigarh. These log huts will be constructed very recently. About 18 log huts will be constructed there in Dumbur. And even for promotion of Tripura tourism, we have arranged jet ski at Narkal Kunjo.
The Dumbur Lake, with an unending span of luxuriant green vegetation, stands majestic for the charming beauty. It has 48 islands in the midst of the lake. Most of these islands are accessible by boat. The other attraction of Dumbur and Narkal Kunja is finding rare varieties of migratory birds fishing from the lake, which is worth watching. For Northeast Diary, this is Reena Numaitam from Agartala.
Today we bring an interview with Avinash Joshi, Principal Secretary, Revenue and Disaster Management, Assam Government, by our Guwahati correspondent Manas Pratim Sharma.
Good evening, Mr. Joshi. Welcome to this episode of Northeast Diary. Would you please tell us what steps that have been taken by the district administration and by the Assam government to minimize the damages in flood?
This year we have taken special steps. What I will do, like flood preparedness for 2021, I will divide it in 4 parts. One is routine work, which we do every year. Second, how we are going to use technology this time to minimize the damage and reach out to the affected people earliest. Number 3, I will discuss about the fund available and fund disbursed to the districts. And number 4, I will discuss about the new initiatives which we have taken in the current year.
Right, sir.
So far as routine work is concerned, we started our preparedness and we had a video conference with all the deputy commissioners on the flood preparedness, which was held on 23rd April. After that, as a routine, all the checklist we have shared with the deputy commissioner. Guidelines for relief camp and SOP for COVID appropriate relief camp is already shared with the deputy commissioners. In fact, this time we have 200 inflatable rubber boats which we have deployed in different districts. 20 passenger speedboat was also provided to 6 districts. We have this time 2 boat ambulances also for Majuli, which we procured from the CSR fund. To reach out to the difficult area, we have provided 19 satellite phones. 13 are in the district and others are at the state headquarters, so that even if when phone network does not work, we can use satellite phone. NDRF team is already positioned and they are at 8 different locations across the state, and locations are chosen in a way that they can reach out to any required place within the shortest possible time. Same way, SDRF are available in all the districts. State level flood preparedness review meeting again was held with under the chairmanship of Chief Secretary. That was on 21st May. As you know, ASDAMA is the nodal agency for this disaster. So ASDAMA is carrying out very aggressive awareness campaign through print, electronic and social media platforms. In fact, the major new initiatives came when Honorable Chief Minister Assam reviewed flood preparedness with all the districts through video conference on 19th May, and looking at the seriousness, again after 4 days we had a flood review meeting at the CM level on 23rd May. So I will, in the due course, I will tell you about the new initiatives also. And in fact, the DCs are instructed to make available all the GR gratuitous relief item like tarpaulin, clothes, etc. And in fact, we have asked this time DCs to sanction all the rehabilitation grant proposal of storm, flood, cyclone within 30 days from the occurrence of the disaster. So this will give us the timely input and timely disbursement of the money. One thing which we have done, and I think earlier was also there, but with the renewed emphasis, is revenue circle level task force, which is done for the flood damage assessment and timely submission of different proposals. So this is so far as the routine work is concerned. Let me briefly touch about the technology. I believe that technology can be a game changer, and if we use the technology properly, we can assess the situation well in advance, as well as we can reach out to the people at the shortest possible time. So for that, what we have done, like now we have online flood reporting system, which is called FRIMS, F-R-I-M-S. So in FRIMS, that is Flood Reporting Information Management System, we get the early warning, and early warning is generated by NESEC, and which is disseminated to all the districts as well as the revenue circles at a very, very fast speed. Other than that, ASDAMA, we have notified even flood up to the village level based on the scientific data available with us. So these technological inputs also will help us in predicting the flood and reaching out to the people for minimizing the damages. Third, about the fund, so this 75 crore we have already given to the districts as advance and SDOs. Other than that, the Chief Minister meeting, the CM, Honorable CM has also announced that rupees 10 lakh will be given to the districts out of CM Relief Fund, which can be used for the purpose for which fund is not otherwise available in the regular budget and all. Then fund already has been given to Deputy Commissioner so that they can place the order for rice also at the open market scheme, so that we get the rice sufficiently in advance. And one more thing, let me tell you that sufficient fund is available. Almost 700-800 crore is available for different work under SDRF for flood relief. Now I will come to the most important part. What I have discussed till now is every year we are doing.
I think, sir, this is for the first time.
Moreover, like what we have seen year to year, that there is delay in the sanction of funds. So now Deputy Commissioners are empowered sanction and disburse amount of GR, search and rescue operation, and for the assistance under different damages under different departments like agriculture, animal husbandry, handicraft, etc. Moreover, some of the things for which they had to come to state government for sealing, those are also now exempted from the sealing. So I understand that for this we can have very expeditious type of damage assessment and disbursement of relief. Then two things we have done. Like we have already instructed Deputy Commissioners that all the ADCs, circle officers should stay in the headquarters. And from ASDAMA as well as from the government, we have deputed each officer for 2 or 3 districts so that they can have close coordination with the district authorities and guide them for the expeditious handling of the relief. So I think these are all I think what we have done till now. And till now we don't have any of the major floods. Some things is building up in North Lakhimpur and all. We are keeping a very close watch, and with the technology available, I think we can reach out and we can even assess in advance, and we can take the necessary preventive measures to minimize the damage.
And finally, sir, it is sometimes it came to notice through media that there is an allegation during the distribution of rice and salt, everything. I mean, these necessary essential food items during the flood time. So what step this year you are taking to prevent such allegation.
Yeah, I get your point. See, what we have done, now we have this online flood reporting system, that is FRIMS, Flood Reporting Information Management System. In fact, I have personally seen it. There you get real-time basis data. And Honorable Chief Minister also instructed very clearly that if some area is not affected, then nothing should be given and nothing should unnecessarily misappropriated for those villages or those people where flood is not there. Whereas, wherever flood is there and people have suffered, we have been asked to provide relief immediately to all the affected families. In fact, we have gone a step further. Earlier, in the earlier years, we hardly used to give, grant for utensils and clothes. But now, Honorable Chief Minister has said that this is a provision, and when people, they are under flood, they are under water, they lose their utensils, they lose their clothes. So, instructions are given to Deputy Commissioner that wherever there are flood-affected families, per family, rupees 3,800 has to be given as the grant for utensils and clothes. And what we have done that we will keep a very close watch of all the relief distribution operations, and those, wrong people or ineligible people, they don't get this relief, and the eligible people are not left out. We'll ensure that with the help of technology, with the help of our deployment officers in the district, and with the help of all the deputy commissioners, ADCs and circle officers and circle level teams.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. You giving us time and has given a very valuable feedback on the flood situation and the steps that being taken to prevent the damages. Thank you again, sir.
Enche Gumpa, which is one of the key tourist draws in Sikkim's capital Gangtok, stands out among the state's numerous monasteries for its religious significance and heritage. Belonging to the Nyingma order of the Vajrayana Buddhism, Enche is among the oldest monasteries of Sikkim, believed to have existed for around 200 years. Let's learn more about this from our correspondent.
Perched on a hilltop near Gangtok, Enche Monastery originated as a meditation and hermitage site. The old shrine was developed into a full-fledged monastery in 1840 AD with the establishment of 15 monks and the religious name Sangye Rabdeling, meaning a sacred stable place. The current structure of Enche was rebuilt in 1908 as an artistic adaptation of the Chinese temple of Gyanak Riwa Tsenga during the reign of the 10th Chogyal Sikyong Tulgo. A scholar at the monastery, Khenpo Tashi Paljor, speaks about its significance.
Enche Monastery, which is originated during 1840. Enche Monastery belongs to Mandolin sect and rituals. Monastery has its own monastic school where monks practice ritual and philosophy about Buddhism. So we worship Mahakala as the main protector of our monastery. And also from different places and from different community devotees often come to worship deities here to fulfill their different wishes. Our monastery yearly offer 4 main rituals which are Karling Shito, so which means magical display of peaceful and worthful ones. It's a terma of Karma Lingpa. So Karling means a name of a person, and terma means it's a hidden treasure or hidden scripture, something like that. So second one is Purva Namcha Pudi, which means cycles of tantric teachings. And also third one is Dorsen. So Dorsen means state of commitment to what is indestructible, also known as Vajrasatala. Fourth and last one is Guru Dabbo, which means that form of Guru Pema with Vajra and Scorpion.
The deities worshipped at Enche Monastery include the Buddha, Loketeshwara and Guru Padmasambhava. Special prayers are organized annually on the 18th and 19th days of the 12th lunar month of the Tibetan calendar. The monastery also hosts the vibrant cham or religious march dance every January. With Saikyat Sarkar, this is Tashyong Bhutia for Northeast Dairy, Sikkim.
And now, here are some interesting facts about the Northeast. The literal meaning of Mizoram is land of the hill people. Fireworks and crackers are banned in Mizoram since 2009. With that, we have come to the end of this edition of Northeast Diary. Do join us next week to hear more stories from this enchanting part of India. Bye-bye.